So as we said before the break, there seems to be a crackdown on inappropriate music videos, and the Broadcasting Commission is not letting up, saying that all players need to learn the rules of the game. We're now joined by Executive Director of the Broadcasting Commission, Cordel Green, to explain this. But what do music video directors think of this move? We've invited Ruption of RD Studios to respond. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Who makes that decision? Is there a rule? Who decides what's inappropriate, and what does inappropriate mean?
Very good question. Let's not talk so much about inappropriate, but broadcasting standards. There's a framework established all across the world. Here, they're called the Television and Sound Broadcasting Regulations, Children's Code for Programming Directives. They establish broad guidelines. They say TVJ, for example, must, for all content, music videos, movies, what we're going to discuss on this program, we must evaluate what it is we propose to give to the public. We evaluate for sexual content, violent content, language. To the extent we have problematic content, because sexual content by itself isn't a problem, you know. It's a matter of degree. So the extent to which we have problematic content, that's the extent to which we apply ratings. Some things are for general audiences. Some things require parental guidance because the content might be mildly inappropriate. In some instances, more suitable for adults. And then you go to extremes, where some things are just not fit for airplay on free-to-air television stations. You might find that content somewhere else. You might go to a video store and you can purchase it. You might be able to go to cable and use a demand pay-per-view service and you get it. You might even go to some cable channels, just a subscription-based channel. You get that kind of content. So it depends on the platform. It's a matter of context. You have to take each case on its own particular set of facts.
I love that you mentioned that it comes down to context, because then it brings me to the fact that it's really pretty grey still. It's not black or white, because everything is perception and based on one's socialization, and what one may think is appropriate, another may think is inappropriate. As simple as you see it, someone may think a sleeveless versus a long sleeve, an airing versus no airing. So what exactly are the guiding factors?
It's not an easy job. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job to run a radio or a television station. You have a broad demographic. You have to apply several considerations. You have to look at what is the nature of the station you're talking about. So, for example, a dance hall channel on cable is not equivalent to TVJ. There are two television channels, but they are not. MTV is not equivalent to NBC. You have to look at what are your audience expectations. But you have to make a judgment, and that is why I say you go to the rules. We lay out a framework, and you see, it does require discipline. That's what has to be underscored. It requires discipline.
Ruption, does this hurt you guys? Because I suspect, and I'm asking here, that and I'll use this word, forgive me, but the more winding up people see in a video, they probably like it a little bit more. Does this hurt you guys by what you're hearing now?
Not necessarily. Actually, we kind of welcome it, because what you find, if we get 10 requests for videos, you find that 7 out of 10 is pretty much the same thing. Same girl come wind up your body.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind of forces us to
think outside the box.
Think outside the box. You get me? And
all producers feel the way you do, you think?
No.
Of course not.
Of course not.
So are you the popular thought here, or no?
I mean, the more creative directors will welcome it. Right? Of course, you have video equipment is kind of cheap now. So what you find that everybody around the corner is doing videos, right? And they kind of just slapdash the work, and because, as I said, 7 out of 10 of the songs is the same thing. You find that it's so simple to just get a girl, put her in front of the camera, tell her to whine, and it ends up on TV. So,
Ruption, here's my question though. In the age of internet and YouTube, can we not argue and say, but I can still make the video the way I want to make the video, because really and truly more people will see it on YouTube. That's probably less likely to ban my video than TV anyway.
right, all right, the popular trend right now is, all right, in 2009 or 2010 when you came down on songs and the bleeps in songs, it kind of forced the artists to actually put out two versions.
To be creative.
As opposed to an edited version, they now put out a radio-friendly version where they actually voice a different track. So what has been happening for the past year with video production is that we actually put out two separate videos, one for online and another that's TV friendly. So it don't really hurt.
Mr. Green, what is your role?
He calls me Mr. Green. I was serious now. Let me sit up.
No. What is your role? I hear the word censor, I hear the word ban.
Yes.
So you're watching TVJ, we play a video that you think shouldn't be shown, then what happens?
Well, first of all, we're not preemptory censors. We live in a free and democratic society. Let's establish that. Nobody, this is a free country, so Broadcasting Commission doesn't look at his videos before and tell him this can't play.
Should you though?
No, and we don't tell you that either. You get a license. You are trained people. You know your audience. You ought to know what their expectations are. You know the rules. You ought to know the rules, the television and sound broadcasting regulations, the Children's Code for Programming, which is why most of the content broadcast doesn't create a problem.
Well, what would be wrong if I made a video and a little thing inside and I sent it to you and I said, Mr. Green, pass this to me?
No, that's not my job. You probably need to go and hire somebody to do that. That's the role of a producer. That's why you ought to have libraries and librarians.
But get back to my question.
Yeah.
So what happens if I did play something inappropriate in your eyes?
Then if members of the public complain about it, that's the other thing we have to establish. It's not just the Broadcasting Commission acting on its own volition. Your viewers also have a sense of what it is they expect.
So
on
they
the
don't complain,
television
you do
station.
anything?
No. I said it's not just a matter of our own volition. We can intervene based on what we see, but I'm trying to establish that there are two ways in which we enter upon the reference.
But hold on, sorry, before you go further, if we have 100 viewers and 3 complain, is something still done, or is it,
it's never quantitative. It's never no. So nowhere in the world. It's not a quantitative issue. It's always a question of whether the material comes in for regulation, whether the complaint has
It still don't
merit.
answer the question though.
Which is?
If we show something inappropriate, what happens?
Well, we look at the material, we arrive at a determination. If there is no breach of the regulations, we tell you, you get several of those letters. If there's a breach of the regulation, then you're given some directions, which could include an apology to your viewers. And ultimately, there is the risk of a license being revoked or a license being suspended.
And if a license is revoked, what? We shut down? The station go back?
Yes.
Or we just can't show no more videos?
No, if a license is revoked, it's revoked.
But if the station shut down?
Yes.
So not even Smile Jamaica could have?
Indeed, but that's an extreme. That's an extreme.
Has that ever happened?
No, but programs have been taken off the air. Content would not come back. And people make changes to programming. Some people have shifted the time they put on particular programs. One thing I want to say quickly, for those persons, and I'm sure you know this, who believe that when they make a video, if it is not shown on television here, it's certain to be shown elsewhere, including the internet. That needs to be qualified. MTV has its programming standards. BET, they have banned videos. Rihanna, our own Sean Kingston, had to edit his video. He used the word suicidal. That had to be struck out in order for it to be shown on TV abroad. And the great YouTube also operates on the basis of standards. They take down videos. So it's not a free-for-all world. People have to make very serious judgments about where they want their content
It is a little
to
bit
be
more
exposed.
relaxed on
It
the
would
internet.
be because the approach to programming is different.
Right.
You tweet what you want. You upload a video. So obviously YouTube couldn't regulate content the way TVJ does. So they regulate more after the fact. You regulate before. You look at the content and you make a determination whether it's appropriate for broadcast in the first place or at what time, in what program is it appropriate, and with what advisories.
My question is though, will these guidelines be public, like made public?
But they are. They are, if you go to www.broadcom.org, which is the Broadcasting Commission's website, the Children's Code for Programming, you find it there. The television and sound regulations, the directives, even the rulings that we make, and the reasons for our decisions. All transparent.
It's a tough job you have though, because again, I maintain that there is gray area based on one's perception.
You
and
have a tougher job. Let's remember that, because you are the gatekeepers. You see, you're right. It's a tough job for us, the regulators. It's a much tougher job for you.
But for the simple
because
reason,
you're the
though,
gatekeepers.
again, Cordel, if somebody might call and say Neville is inappropriate because he's not wearing socks.
Yes.
Like, there's simple things that
Nobody
one
never
might...
noticed that, until you said that.
Yes, indeed. He's not wearing socks.
The first ever
Send us the complaint. The complaint is to be sent to the Broadcasting Commission. You're likely to hear that it has not been upheld, but you can complain.
But you understand the point I make.
Of course,
in that it's a very thin line based on one's perception.
That's always the case. That
Tough
will always be the
tough call.
case. That happened with Elvis Presley. It happened with Bob Marley. When we're old, that debate is going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course.
Is it the fact that all this is going on? Is the internet the place to go with all of this?
It is. It's the place right now. I think TV's comes a close second right now to the internet, in terms of music videos and videos overall.
A million or a billion views compared to...
But we want to stop that. That's partly why we want you to go digital, so you can be more interactive and get back some of those people heading over to the internet.
I don't want to be an informer like her, but she don't have any socks either. Thanks for coming. Okay?
And thank goodness for that.
That's true.
If I had on socks, it would be a problem.
I have on brown socks. But yeah, there is this new socks that is a skin color socks, which is what I want.
An
Transparent.
ashy skin color.
He's the executive director of the Broadcast Commission, Cordel Green, and music video director at RD Studios, Ruption.
All right, recently titled Caribbean Chef of the Year, Brian Lumley will be teaching us how to make a few fun meals using tasty cheese when we return. Please stay with us on Smile.